Hi, my name is Karen Fabian, and I'm the founder of Bare Bones Yoga. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you've been here before. If you have not, welcome. I am a yoga teacher. I specialize in anatomy. That is absolutely my passion, and specifically, my passion around anatomy is helping you as a yoga teacher learn creative and understandable ways that you can learn it and share it with your students. Because let's face it, the topic of anatomy is central to any movement practice. Here we're focusing on yoga teaching and the practice of yoga, so it's really critical that we understand anatomy. So today I want to talk to you about blending anatomy into your sequences. Now, of course, anatomy is part of your sequences because you're moving people around and you're giving them cues. However, you can create sequences and have a specific anatomy focus in mind. So let me show you one. Let's say you wanted to build your students up to a big back bend like camel pose, and you wanted to prep them so that they could easily come into this posture. Now, in order to do that, you need to understand what are the anatomical actions present in that pose. So one of the common, one of the anatomical actions at play is hip extension, and also, as I back bend, spinal extension. So a good first place to start is to identify the anatomical actions of the peak pose that you want to work people to. Then take a look at what are the muscles that create or help to create those actions. So as I come into any sort of back bend, there are muscles helping me do it, and there are muscles allowing me to do it. The muscles helping me do it are concentrically contracting. The muscles allowing me to do it are eccentrically lengthening. In this case, all the muscles helping me do it are on the posterior aspect of the body, the back. All the muscles that are eccentrically lengthening are on the anterior aspect, the front. So now that you've determined that, the next thing to identify is which muscles. So here, as we come into any sort of back bend, right, if I was to go into a full back bend from standing or do that camel pose again, I'm using concentrically gluteus maximus and hamstrings, so posterior aspect of the hip and posterior aspect of the thigh, to create the hip extension. I'm also using muscles that run up and down the spine to create spinal extension. So as you see me here in the pose, envision that the muscles in the back are helping me do it. The muscles in the front are lengthening to allow it. So the lengthening muscles, or the antagonistic muscles, are muscles like pectoralis minor, on top of it pectoralis major, subscapularis. Those are internal rotators that would be lengthening. So you can see how now I've identified the muscles I need to use to help me do that movement. So now I can get down to identifying the poses that will strengthen the muscles in the posterior aspect that are involved and allow for greater range of motion in this action of external rotation. I didn't mention, but we can also mention the hip flexor complex, so muscles like the psoas and the sartorius and the rectus femoris that are all hip flexors. They need to allow for the back bend to occur. If those muscles are tight, I'm going to be inclined to lean forward a bit, or I'm going to feel some resistance as I try to move into spinal extension. So I hope you can see how it's really a building block process. You need to understand the anatomy in terms of the anatomical actions, the muscles that are involved, which ones are working, which ones are lengthening, and then you can identify the poses that will help your students hit that peak posture with greater ease, greater range of motion, greater knowledge of the muscles that are involved. And while I didn't go through the whole story here, because we don't have time and I want to keep this fairly short, the next piece would be to actually identify the postures. So you may be watching this thinking, man, I would really love to be able to do that more for all the sequence building I do, and I'd also really like to understand anatomy well enough so that I could create sequences with different areas of focus and really easily identify the muscles involved. Well, I've got an interesting offer for you. I built this summer a practice portal. I call it the Bare Bones Yoga Practice Portal. And what it is it's really meant to support your practice, and it's also meant to support you as a teacher in coming up with creative ideas around sequencing and give you little tidbits of the anatomy learning. It's not going to give you the full story, but because it's going to give you access to specialty sequences, you'll hear me sometimes give these little prep lectures prior to teaching the sequence that'll help it all fit together in terms of the anatomy and the sequence itself. So it's a really good way to start diving into the anatomy in small ways. Now, one of the things I've done with the Practice Portal is I've made one of the modules completely free for you to access. And I figured one of the things you really want to access are some of the free workshops I did over the summer. So I have 5 free workshops that you can immediately access the replays of, and they each were about 1.5 to 2 hours, maybe one of them or 2 of them were about an hour. So they're full workshops, similar to what you would get in person if you went to a workshop. And you can have immediate access to watching those replays, and all you need to do is set up a free login for the portal. Once you do that, you'll see the free access to the chapter that has all the workshops. You can watch them as many times as you want. And then you'll also see the other things the portal gives you access to. And if you decide to join, it's just $10.99 a month. So I'm going to include the link to my website. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll include the link to the portal directly. And you'll see the option to sign up for free. You'll be able to watch those replays. And then when you see all the other content that's in there, I add to it monthly, and you know it's just $11 a month. It's really a no-brainer for you to sign up as a teacher to use that as a resource. So if you have any questions, please comment here. You can always just send me an email, Karen@barebonesyoga.com. I really hope you take advantage of this free opportunity, and I hope that you also sign up for the Practice Portal. I know it's going to be a great resource for you if you are a teacher and you are looking to build sequences with peak poses, learn more about anatomy. So I hope to see you on the inside of this really cool membership. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'd love if you would give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Namaste.